If you say what you want to do, I will help you to it. What I'm trying to say is that when you see, you should take them.
This one, off this one. Yeah, this light that fits them.
Good evening, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the celebration of life. Brother, father, husband, friend, Alex Osebor. We are going to start with an opening hymn, and then Brother Gordon will come up and do the opening prayer. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou takest not thy compassions with fear nor
welcome this evening as we sang the first hymn, Great is God's faithfulness. God is faithful. He is faithful to all his children. The response is that we are called to be faithful to him. And so we have a psalm of praise. All praise to you, God of all creation. Praise to you, holy and living God. We praise and we bless you for your mercy. We praise and bless you for your kindness. Blessed is the Lord our God. You sanctify the homes of the living. You make holy the places of the dead. You alone open the gates of righteousness and lead us to the dwelling of the saints. Blessed is the Lord our God. We praise you, our refuge and strength. We bless you, our God and Redeemer. We praise you. Your praise is always on our hearts and upon our lips. We remember the mighty deeds of your covenant. Blessed is the Lord our God. Almighty and the living God, remember the mercy with which you graced your servant Alex in his life. I ask you to receive him into the mansions of the saints. Comfort those who mourn and strengthen them in their loss. Great is the Lord our God. In St. John's Gospel, we read, on arriving at Bethany, Jesus found that Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days or little. Bethany is only about 2 miles from Jerusalem. And many Jews have come to Martha and Mary to sympathize over their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus had come, she went out to meet him. Mary remained sitting in the house. Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, whatever you ask of God, he will grant you. Your brother, said Jesus to her, will rise again. Martha said, I know he will rise again on the resurrection on the last day. And Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. If anyone believes in me, even though they die, yet shall they live. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she said. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who was to come into this world. The Gospel of the Lord. My brothers and sisters, you are here this evening to honor and to remember Alex. The way he touched your life, the way he responded to your presence. But as you gather as a community, as a family and community, the Lord is truly present as we are gathered. He's present here in this gathering of brothers and sisters. He is present in the word proclaimed from St. John's Gospel. He is present in the Holy Eucharist, in the tabernacle. The Lord is truly present. And as he came to the house of Mary and Martha is here this evening. And this message went to the sister saying, the Lord is here. Martha went out. She greets him. Then she challenges Jesus. If you had been here, if you were here sooner, our brother would not have died. And Jesus looks at her. He says, Martha, Martha, do you believe? Do you believe who I am? Do you believe I am the resurrection and the life? Do you believe that even though one dies, yet shall they live? Do you believe? Martha had to look deep within her heart. The Lord Jesus challenged her as he challenges each one of us this evening. And then she had to respond to his question, do you believe? And her response was, yes, Lord, I believe. I believe that you are the Christ. I believe that you are the Son of God. I believe you were sent into the world. I believe. And the Lord challenges each one of us tonight. Yes, you gather to remember Alex, and Alex stands now in the presence of God. He has seen his glory, his beauty, his radiance. But the Lord speaks to you and I. What about your faith? Do you believe? How deep is your faith? And how do we respond to the Lord's invitation? Do you believe? Do you believe who I am? Do you believe I am the resurrection and the life? And only you can answer. I can answer for myself, I believe. But you, as individuals, have to respond to the words of Jesus deep within your heart. How strong is your faith? Do you believe? Alex had faith. But you are gathered this evening to remember him, to honor him. But also, as the scripture reminds us, that we are challenged in our faith. You see, one day, tomorrow, you will gather again to celebrate his Requiem Mass. His coffin will be here. He will be questioned. But we will be challenged. In this world, I cannot promise you much. I cannot promise you next month you're going to win the lottery, all that millions. I cannot promise you that next week you're going to get a Bentley or a Ferrari, or you're going to get the house you've always dreamed of. I can't promise you that. But what I will say, what I'll promise you is that one day, the Lord will put his hand down the finger of the book of life. And that finger will stop at your name, or maybe my name. And he'll say, it is your turn to see me. Come. Are you ready? Am I ready? And it's no good saying, well, Lord, I just checked my diary. It's quite busy at the moment. It's a bit inconvenient for you to call me. So, I've gone to the Disneyland with the kids. I've got parties to go to. I've got a wedding to attend. I've got this and that. What about next year? The Lord said, It is your time to come to see me. My brothers and sisters, will you be ready? Because we do not know the time or the hour the Lord will call us. Are you ready? You could walk out of this church tonight and have a pain in your chest, and within minutes you'll be on the floor, and that'll be it. Are you ready? This is what the Lord is challenging us tonight as we gather to celebrate the life of Alex. As I said, he stands, he has seen the glory of God. He stands in his presence. By the grace of God, we'll hear the words, "Good and faithful servant, come into the kingdom I have prepared for you." As he crosses over to the threshold from this life to a new life, there is no more pain, no more sorrow, only joy. But there's praise and glory of the God who loves us. And our God does love each one of us. Our God is a God of love and compassion, a God slow in anger, rich in his mercy. But we have to respond to it. We have to decide now, who do we follow? Who do we believe? Am I ready to commit our life to Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the light? Am I prepared to live for him in the community in which I worship, in the area in which I live? Am I his presence to those who see me? When someone sees me in the street, do they know he's a follower of Jesus? He believes in Jesus. By my words, my actions, my love, my forgiveness. See, death, when we celebrate the death of a person, of a loved one, we are challenged to look at our own life. Never be afraid. Never be afraid to be honest. Never be afraid to acknowledge who Jesus is in your life. Sometimes it is strong, other times it is weak. But the Lord will never give up on any person. God's love for you is constant, as it was for Alex. So my brothers and sisters, as you celebrate this service this evening, in thanksgiving and in praise, as you sing the hymns, remember who you are honouring in the hymn. It is the one who reigns over all. But during the service, during the prayers, during the praise, you also remembered a loved one, someone who touched your life because you were here, someone who made a difference to you of what he said and did. Keep that flame of love alive in your heart. Love never dies. Jesus said, St. Paul said in the letter to Corinthians, there are three things that last: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. If you have a love for a person in your heart, it does not die, it grows. If love for the Lord in your heart, it grows. And his love will transform your life. So this evening, in your prayer, in your praise, in your reflection on Alex's life, give thanks to God. But also respond to the gentle promptings of the Lord. Who do you say I am in your life? How do you respond? Who is Jesus in your life? Where is Jesus in your life? How do you serve him in your life? Jesus has promised, given us many promises. One promise is that those who have gone before us, we shall meet again. Death cannot destroy. In death there is life. eternal life, with a God who loves us. And one day, those who have gone before us, we shall meet again. We shall meet Alex again. But will you be ready to meet him? Will you be ready to hear the words from our Lord? Who do you say I am? And how will you respond to him and to those around you? Jesus is Lord. He is Savior. He is my beginning and He is my end. All praise is His. And so, my Lord, God of all ages, through disobedience to your Lord, we fell from grace, and death entered the world. But through the obedience and the resurrection of your Son, you revealed to us a new life. You granted Abraham, our father in faith, a burial place in the promised land. You promised Joseph of Arimathea to offer his own tomb for the burial of the Lord in the spirit of repentance. I ask you to grant eternal rest to our brother Alex and to all those who have died. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful in the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Gordon. We will now take our second hymn, which is on the second page of the book, Amazing Grace. know. Imagine it.
Luke chapter 9, verses 28 to 36, the Transfiguration. About 8 days after Jesus said this, he took Peter, John and James with him and went up to the mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became as bright as a flash of lightning. 2 men, Moses and Elijah, appeared in glorious splendor, talking with Jesus. They spoke about his departure, which was about to bring fulfillment to Jerusalem. Peter and his companions were very sleepy, but when they became fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men standing with him. As the men were leaving Jesus, Peter said to him, "Master, is it good for us to be here? Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He didn't know what he was saying. While he was speaking, a cloud appeared and covered them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. A voice came from the cloud saying, "This is my son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, they found that Jesus was alone. The disciples kept this to themselves and did not tell anyone at the time what they had seen.
Our third hymn is "Whatsoever You Do." We will also take the hymn Soul of My Saviour, and I will invite Mr. Patrick Mido to continue the rest of the hymn. Soul of my Saviour, sanctify my breast, body of Christ be, thou my saving rest.
Thank you, Tome. Good evening, all. It's great to see you all here today. Full of emotions today, mixed feelings, but we thank God all the same. We've come to the part of this celebration of life where we want to express ourselves, talk about our dear brother, friend, brother, mate, Alex Osebor. So first and foremost, I would invite Omofoma Osebor to come and give the eulogy. So Omofoma, ready for the eulogy? Thank you.
Thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate my brother. So knowing that you've come to celebrate, please weep not, cry not, because we are celebrating his life. But I would quickly want to say something. I was told about eulogy, and I've never heard that word before. And so I had to quickly Google it to see what it was all about. And that's when I found out that the eulogy and tribute, they are not the same thing. Eulogy is specifically for somebody that has passed on, but tributes can be given to both the living and those that have passed on. I didn't know this. So even in Alex passing on, he still taught me something. Alex, Dwumfour, and then today I also learned something again about Alex. See, he has always been teaching me. I learned that his name also means Italian. So, I want to also quickly say that Alex is the 19th child of my father, and here today are my elder brothers. One other thing that Alex taught me again while passing on was, I had always thought that not being the first son or the elder son, oh, I'm free, I don't have responsibilities. But to my surprise, I was told, oh, Alex, he's yours to bury. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm not the first son, I'm younger. So it says tradition. So if you are not the first, don't think you don't have responsibilities, you do. Alex taught me again that in his passing on. Here today, my elder brothers, my elder sisters, Harrison. That's a name I would say now, but I never say it. But I just want to say his name because you need to know. But I normally say Ross. Then I have Sister Maria. I have, I would say Brother Lloyd, because most times when I say Lloyd, Alex will tell me, what's in the worry? Now, Ross, you just call Lloyd. You know, so today I would say Brother Lloyd. I would say Sister Teresa, Sister Helen. I never actually say Sister Helen, I just say Helen and Tessie. Those are my elder ones and they are here today. And Alex, like you all know, is an Asa man. He was born into the family of Pa, Joseph and Juliana Osebor. He comes from an Asa land. I always say I'm so proud of my father, so I always mostly tell people we live at number 2 Osebor Street, because I want to quickly mention that he has a street in our village. You know, so what Alex, I don't even know where to start now. Alex, like you all know, Udo. Most people call him Udo. I grew up knowing him as Udo. And in Asa land, Udo is the rock, stone, unbreakable, brave. And if you know Alex, while mentioning all those things, you know what I'm talking about. And Alex, the name Alex, listen to this, defender of men. If you know Alex again, then you know what I'm talking about. Alex means a helper. If you know Alex, then you know what I'm talking about. Alex, defender of mankind. I told you not to cry, but I'm not crying. Alex, man warrior. Dwumfour is Ross, stand me to correct it. I've seen it all. Italian is my word will stand. What I say would be, if you truly know Alex, then you know what I'm talking about. Then he had a son named Osebor. When I tell people Osebor is synonymous to the word fearless. Again, if you know Alex, you know what I'm talking about. So knowing these names, Alex, Imiefo, Itadon, and Osebor, and you just heard the explanations I gave or the meanings I gave about those names. Then if you know Alex, you won't really cry anymore because you will know that Alex actually did what he was sent to do. I'm a living testimony of how Alex did what he was sent to do here on earth. So the question now is, do you know what you've been sent here to do on earth? If you know it, are you doing it? If you don't know it, to reflect, think. Probably it could be your name. Your name could be telling you what you are meant to do on earth here. That could be a clue. You know, like I'm Omofoma. My understanding from Omofoma I would think that it's about children relieving parents of their burdens, Omofoma. You know, so I always thought, oh yes, so I'm going to kind of relieve my parents from whatever burden they think they are. But to my surprise, my own children came to relieve me of my burden. So there's just something about name. Back to the celebration of my brother. Alex, defender of mankind, helper, a man warrior. The only thing I would say pains me is I never got to ask him. I never got to ask him why he likes me so much. Not just because he was my brother, because I have brothers and I think Alex loved me most. Probably because I was with him more. Growing up as a teenager, being a teenager is very easy to go off track. Especially in a community where the oppressed has the upper hand. If you are from Nigeria and you grew up in Nigeria, then you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So I grew up in a community where the oppressed seem to have the say. And I'm Osebor. And earlier on I told you Osebor is synonymous to the word fearless. Well, I have 18 sisters and I have 8 brothers. My sisters are even tougher than my brothers. My father is fearless. So growing up as the 26th child, I'm bound to go off track. Growing up in the society where I grew up in, I was definitely going to go off track. There was no two ways about that. I knew it deep inside my heart. I was going to be someone that would, there's no English word to describe what I would have turned into. But Alex saw something in me. He knew. And he was my guide. So I'm telling you today that Alex did what he was sent to do. Alex protected me as his younger brother. He guided me. Several times I went off track, and Alex got me back on track. Patrick here, I call him Puma. 27 years ago, he may not even remember. 27 years ago, 9 days from today, would make it 27 years ago. when Alex and Puma constantly spoke to me, series of words, a guide, a blueprint, a map, that I will not go astray. 9 days from today was 27 years ago, April 1st, 1995. So seeing Puma here again, what does that tell you? It tells you that Alex actually was doing something in my life. I went to Ambrosali University, and the person I was leaving secondary school into the school, I was bound to go off track. There's no way I wouldn't have gone off track. But Alex kept me on track. Alex was seen as hot-blooded, stubborn, but you needed to know him to actually know that he was the simplest of persons. Alex stood for family. They were singing the song and it got me wondering what's going on here. Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. If you know Alex, then you know that song was talking about Alex. Whatever you do to my sisters, you do. If you know Alex, you know that this song was talking about Alex. Then the first hymn I was reading, something said about strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Alex was always my strength. My father passed on, and Alex, I bet you Alex was the name that kept Osebor strong and going. For my village, if you mention Osebor to 9 people, 10 people, 9 people will tell you that the first person that came to their thought was Alex. If you wanted something to be said to, like I always tell my kids and my wife, I tell them, do you know that before you take advice from somebody, you actually know what you want? That is why you went to that person. Mr. A will tell you something violent, to do something violent. Mr. B will tell you to do something much more reasonable. If you want to do something reasonable, you will go to Mr. B for advice, because you know that is what Mr. B would give you. If you don't want to do something reasonable, you will go to Mr. A for advice, because you know that is what Mr. A would give you. If you wanted peace, go to Alex. Let me tell you a story. I was at home 1996, and somebody entered a bike, and from far he came down from the bike, and I noticed that people were arguing. So obviously the man did not want to pay for his bike fare, because the person riding the bike was an old man. So I walked up to them and, what's going on? Why you don't want to pay this man no money? You know, the guy was like, what's my business? And I flared up. And I was like, no, you have to pay. If you don't pay, you will see something that you don't want to see. And the guy was like, oh, are you talking to me? Oh, just wait, hold on, stay here. I'm coming. And I waited. Which wasn't wise though. But the Osebor in me, I waited. Because he could have come with only God knows who, and something terrible could have happened to me. But the Osebor in me, like I told you, is synonymous to the word fearless. I waited. I wanted to see what he's going to bring. Behold, my brother came with him. And I laughed. and we ended up, I won't say it, but he ended up getting the other stick. So that is Alex. You do not take Alex somewhere if you are wrong, because it could backfire. Now, my family is, like I told you, I have 18 sisters, 8 brothers. We have pairs, we go in pairs. It's so big, so we have cliques. And so when this happened, today I called Alex clique, which is his pair. One of them, they actually were a pair of 3, which it's not a pair anymore, it's 3. Because one of my sisters here, Ellen, snuck her way into their pair. So she was among the pair. And his other pair, I asked him this afternoon, like a few minutes before I came here, I was like, oh, Fidelis, what's the thing about Alex that you would never forget? And he said, he doesn't know if he should say this, so I'll say, just say it, just tell me. He said, okay, but some time ago when they were still very in their, about teenage age, 19, 20, he wanted to, him and Alex, he wanted to kind of travel out, so my elder sister, Alex, told him, because my elder sister, they were doing some certain business with the person they were living with, because Alex was living with my elder brother, his wife, the wife was doing business with my other sister, and so there was money, transactions, they could get access to money. So Alex told him, get money and travel out. So how much? Say about 300. He could travel out to about 300. So he said he was scared, but he still went to get the money, but he got about 500 naira. He didn't go for 300, he just took 500 naira. So my brother's wife caught him and she was ranting, and she now came to Alex and was telling Alex, oh, see what your brother did. And Alex told her, he hasn't done anything. So she was like, I'm telling you, he took money. Yeah, I know he took money. I know you told me he took money. But the amount you even said he took, that wasn't the amount I told him to take. and he now reminded her, moreover, you are talking about our sister's money. So he took money from our sister, and that wasn't the amount I told him to take. He was taking it because he wanted to better his life. That was Alex, irrespective of what it was. If it was to better you, did you say it was to make you a better person? Then it's good. That is Alex. There are a lot of things, but like we did start on time because African time doesn't only apply in Africa, it applies here as well. But I would want to say there is something that is very, 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 when I think of Alex, there is a Bible verse that comes to my mind. And since we're kind of in what they would say, the house of God, where we fellowship, why don't we just to talk about, you see, Alex would, in any aspect, I could tell you about Alex. So let me tell you about Alex, telling you about scriptures. Matthew 16 verse 18. That verse tells us about a certain rock. When you hear rock in this context today, you know we're referring to Udo, which people call him. That verse tells us about a certain rock. And the verse tells us that Jesus said, upon that rock, he will build his church. And he didn't stop there. He went on to say that the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So when people say Udo, when you say Udo, when you say all things, there are different things you think about. But when I say Udo, when I think about Alex, I think of Matthew 16. I think of the rock. I think of the foundation. I think of nothing prevailing against that rock. And then you wonder, how come, what's this guy thinking about? How does that link? How does that work? Let me tell you how it works. It works because as a teenager growing up, Alex was my rock. As a teenager growing up, I built my foundation on Alex. As a teenager growing up, I walked on my streets with my head held high, knowing that nothing could prevail against me. So when you talk about Matthew 18, whatever rock Jesus was talking about, whatever church he was talking about, whatever not gates of hell not prevailing, everything for me is centered on Alex. Because as a teenager growing up, we all have mentors, we all build foundations of something. I built mine on Alex growing up. I could actually walk the streets, bold, fearless, knowing that my church is built on Alex. Knowing that nothing would touch me, nothing would harm me. And it's true. It's true because I'm alive today because of Alex. I'm at home on a certain day with my friend at Ikokobe, a town in our village. Princess Iwaya Street, a street owned by let me tell you, I have to remind you, my father, one of my father's late wives, we own streets. Now I'm there with my friend and we're just chilling, having a nice time. University, school. And then quarrels, we have quarrels. People, while I'm playing with having a nice time with my friend, people are thinking of how to come to me and get me killed. Quarrels. Why they are planning on how to get me killed? Somebody made a mistake and mentioned my surname. Mentioning my surname, they linked up, oh, is that Alex's brother? Oh yeah, that's Alex's brother. And then that plan had to be aborted. And if the plan went on, I would have been one of the easiest hits ever in the history of hits, because I was just at home, chilling. So you see, when I talk about the rock, gates not prevailing against me, the gates of hell, nothing. People will say, how? That is how. He actually prevented people from coming to get me killed. Alex Osebor. Alex was, there's this word, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Do we check ourselves? If we don't check ourselves, obviously we'll wreck ourselves. Alex was my check. Before I did anything, I would have to check, as in my thought. If he hears, so when people, yes, he has offended, he might have offended one or two people here. We all offend people. We all offend people, have offended loads of people. But have we done that which we were sent here to do? I think yes, my brother did. If it's just me standing here today alive, I think that, come on, he did what he was sent to do. His name, a defender of mankind, a helper, he defended me. In 1,000 ways you you would understand. I've gone off track several times, and Alex knew me. He knew me. For some reason, he just knew me. He looked at me. I think I was an open book to him. So he took an extra interest in me. I went off track. Let me tell you of another instance I went off track and how he put me under check. First and foremost, do you know what a slap, when they slap you? A slap that you see coming and a slap that you don't see coming. Which is more painful? The one you don't see coming. I went off track once, and Alex found out that I went off track. And he invited me to his house, where he lived, then Momo Lane. And while he was speaking to me, telling me why I did what I did, his friends were slapping me from behind. And I was so tempted to, so while he was talking to me, I was so tempted to keep looking back because an unexpected slap was coming. And he kept telling me I should look at him. Why was he doing this? Because I had gone off track. I had done something very terrible. I've done something that, come on, you shouldn't be doing that. So Alex was always my check. Whatever I did as a teenager growing up, whatever I did, I would have to rethink it. And having such a brother is a blessing. Having such a brother is a blessing. So I would stay here and talk all day, but I don't have all day to stay here and talk.
Thank you, thank you very much. I can feel and see the emotions coming out. You did mention my name and 27 years, and I'm checking my age. 27 years, that's quite a long time, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I would like to call up the lovely Obehi Osebor, Alex's daughter. Obehi, yeah, come on.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My dad was a soldier. He was tough and straight up. He was also soft, kind, compassionate, and understanding. My dad was the most charismatic, bubbly, lively person I'd ever met. His positivity radiated wherever he went. My dad was a cool dad. He got it. He was very trendy and up to date with the latest fashion trends. He was traditional but also liberal and open-minded. He was always willing to learn new things. My dad spoilt me. My cousins never failed to remind me of how spoilt I was as a child. Had every doll and new gadget. Anything I wanted, I got. My dad loved enjoyment, forever encouraging me to live my best life and try new experiences. My dad loved capturing moments. It's as if there was like a camera constantly glued to his hand throughout my childhood, and I cherish these memories that he preserved for me. My dad was my best friend, #1 supporter and hero all in one. He taught me how to be resilient and how to see the glass as half full, no matter what life throws at you. My dad was a bit obsessed with me. He magnified any little thing that I did and found every excuse to boast about me. My dad's love language were words of affirmation. He taught me how to love out loud, never failing to tell me how much he loved me and how proud of me he was. My heart is broken and I still can't believe you're gone. I can still hear you saying, "Akoko," which for those of you that don't know, is a nickname my mum and dad had for me since I was a baby. He would say "Akoko" and I would say "Daddy." It was our thing to hype each other up. I wake up every day hoping this was all a terrible nightmare, and I wish we had more time together, but thank God that I was able to know you. It saddens me that you won't be at my graduation or see me turn 21. You won't be able to physically walk me down the aisle or hold your grandchildren, but I have comfort in knowing that you're in a place with bird's eye view. You're closer to God now, and I have peace in knowing that you'll be with me every step of the way. You used to call me your angel, and now you're mine. I love you to the moon and back, and I'm so happy God chose you to be my father. I miss you every day, and I'll continue to make you proud until we meet again. Rest in perfect peace, Dad. Lots of love, your Coco.
Thank you, Jobe. I'll now call on the gentleman that I refer to as Diopa Chuka Ihade. Please, can you come over? Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. It's been a very tortuous journey, and I must really commend Patrick for all he's done so far in the past months. I've known Alex since 1986 or 87, if my memory serves me right. That was way back in Ambo, not in Ekboma. He went to Ikaloma school then, and he lived with his eldest brother, who was my very close friend's dad, Festus Osebor. Festus, I was in the same class as Festus in Ekboma in the 80s. When I met Alex, I took to him, despite the age difference. He was a young man. I was in uni and he was in secondary school. He ran errands for us. We sent him whatever we wanted to do. He goes out there and he does it for us. When I left uni and eventually moved to Lagos, we lost track. And the next time I saw him was at my dad's 1 year remembrance. When I saw him, I didn't recognize him again because he's grown. He was a big boy now, and I said, "Oh, bros, you don't know me again?" And I said, "I'm sorry, or can you please refresh my memory?" And he said, "Alex." And I looked at him. I had to punch him on his chest, but he's much bigger than me. He has a bigger friend than I do. And I said, "What have you been feeding on?" And that was it. I didn't see him again after then. Rolled over to 2000 in London. He was my navigator. We lived in North London, and whenever we visited the south, he was always by my side. Then we couldn't read the A to Z. So he would stay by my side and say, "Oh, bros, go this way," because he knew all the bus routes at the time. You know? Always respectful and always willing to help. A selfless brother, a true family man. When my wife had my son, I remember when he came with Ube was a baby then, about under 2 years old, and trying to pick up the young boy with mine now. I still remember Alex's present that he brought on the day. He was always in the house in Osebor Gardens and in Crouch End, London. That is the history, just like life. bit, but it is the ultimate end. According to William Shakespeare in Macbeth, life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Well, it hurts your heart and softens your soul when you see a man die long before, even before, only before he's old. It's difficult to say rest in peace, Alex. The sojourn were my brother until Resurrection Day. I will speak my little Ishada as a member. Okay, where are we? Thank you very much for your
Thank you very much, Mr. Chuka Ihade. Now it's time to call up Winifred. Winnie, Winnie.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We decided to come up as a family unit because we are -1 now in Dublin, and Alex was the other member of our household. So I said we had to come out this way. So Alex was truly the gift that never stopped giving, even in death. He kept, even right now he keeps giving. Just like Mokuma said, Alex came into this world bearing gifts, which he delivered. He totally emptied himself. And that's why we're created, to bear good gifts, to impact on the world positively, and to go empty. So even though there's a really huge vacuum in my life, I'm at peace that Alex, he achieved his divine objective, and I strongly believe that. So even when I weep, when I'm sad, it's mixed all the time. While we were praying for Alex during the period he was ill, I actually saw myself giving a tribute. And I had to go and beg God for forgiveness, because what I saw was like, oh, I did not believe that he would be healed. But here I am today, being called to give that tribute. So that was a premonition that I did not get at the time. Well, I was just in denial. I just did not want to accept it. I think that's what it seems to me now. So today, I tried to write something, I couldn't write anything, and I just said, I'm just going to come up here and talk. So that's what I'm doing right now. So growing up, I find it difficult to call Alex my cousin because he was more than a brother. He was closer than a brother. So technically, we share the same grandparents. His mom is my father's older sister. So, but he was more like a brother. And in the most recent years, when he came over to Ireland, we were able to strongly connect in such a way that, Alex was truly a rock to me and to my family, to my husband and to my daughter. And he was generous, he was loving. I don't really know where to start from to talk about Alex. So I said to my daughter today, I said I'm going to use his alphabet. A for amazing. He was amazing in everything he did. He was wonderful. He gave unconditionally. Before you ask, Alex is, finding solutions. What do you want? He was always there. It was just amazing. He was a confidant. Before I did anything, I'm really good at, getting opinions from people, even when I know what I want to do. Alex would be one of the first people I would call. Even when he moved to London, we're constantly on the phone talking. He was loving. Alex was synonymous with love. Alex taught me how, when you really love your family, you don't even think about what you're doing. You just go with what makes people happy. And that was Alex. He would just, he would always put the other person first. And if you had a problem, I remember one time I was traveling to New York for a conference, and this was when, there was this big event in the UN, the Pope was there. And I tried to get hotels. I couldn't even get a hotel to pay for. They were expensive. And Alex was like, hold on, I know somebody. So I actually went to New York and stayed with a friend of Alex, just like that, for like 5 days, So those are the kind of things. Nothing was ever too much for him to do. He was never afraid to ask, and even if he said no to him, it was okay. So you could go to Alex knowing that you would find a solution. Alex was, I'm looking for something for the E. Do you remember what I said? Extraordinary. It was excellent. It was excellent. Obey talked about him being trendy. That's an understatement. he was like, fashionista, that kind of thing. So between me and Becca, we would raid Alex's wardrobe all the time. We have lots of jeans, shirts, you won't believe it. Yesterday I wore one and I was saying, oh, think this morning. And I said to my brother, like, this pants belong, this jeans is for Alex. And they laughed, because that was it. He could, whatever you wanted, for any age, you'd find it. It was trendy and it stood out, Alex was very, very clean and neat person. I remember just, sitting in the kitchen. He would cook. He liked to clean up the place. He would complain if, the place wasn't looking nice. And many times we would just sit down cooking, sharing meals. And I just hold on to those memories. So there's this saying that when your loved ones are no longer here, the memories become treasure. So I have countless treasures that I have to see me through this difficult time without him. And I'm really, really grateful for that. Lastly, for the ex, Alex was extraordinary. So everything he did to perfection. He never wanted, he had really high standards. When he was a peacemaker, he would put himself in the firing squad, take me, I must find a solution to this crisis. What people are afraid to say, in the name of peace, Alex would say it. Alex was truthful to a fault, the only time I remember where he couldn't tell me something I did not know. Later when I found that, he said it was because he knows that person was very close to me, and if he had told me, it would have broken my heart, So, and that was to protect me. So, I don't know what to say. I just want to say, there's so much to reflect and learn from Alex, and it's not how long, but it's how well. And in that regard, Alex did an amazing job, and I'm really grateful to God for giving me that opportunity to not only have him in my family, but to experience him deeply, to live under the same roof with him, to have him impact on me. He had a way of looking at things. During one of my most difficult times as a parent, Alex stepped in, and I was able to regain myself. So that's really the biggest takeaway for me, and it will always, be something we treasure as a family. So I'll hand over to Becky.
Good evening, everyone. Uncle plays sorry. I think one thing that stands out for me is the importance Uncle placed on family. Sorry. Like today, I feel like everyone in our family has testimonies about things that he said or taught them. My mom mentioned her hardest time in her life. That was hard. She wasn't there, and because of me. And Uncle was the person who guided me through. He let me know that it's okay to make mistakes, but you have to take accountability and build and become a better person from that. He just showed me so much love, kindness, and that's what I'll never forget about Uncle. To this, even in his death, we're still learning. We're still receiving his love. And I'm just so happy that I have an uncle like this in my life. Thank you.
Hello all. Alex is my brother-in-law, and those of you who don't know me already, my husband to me, Alex's cousin. So I knew Alex for some 6 years, and in that time he left an impression. What I remember most about him is, amongst other things, his generosity, and that includes generosity with your time. For example, if you called upon Alex and he was eating, he would always invite you to share the meal with him, while making it sound like you were doing him the favour. He would always say food is more enjoyable when you share it with other people. Alex always knew the right thing to say to lift you up when you were feeling down. He would also be very generous in giving credit for those things you either thought were nothing or had forgotten, but Alex would always remember them. And he was also very generous when it came to excusing other people's faults and failures. He would never want to think he was a burden on anyone. You'd have to twist his arm 5 or 6 times in order to get him to accept a favour from you. May you rest in peace, Alex. And you can probably guess from my accent that I'm Irish. And we have a saying in the Irish language, Ar yeiste goreva anam, which in Irish means, at God's right hand, may his soul be. Thank you very much.
Okay. Omofuma, your name is still here for tributes. I will cancel it. Someone give me pen, please. You think the name will do It's great to laugh at a time such as this. The next person that I'm going to call, which is not Omofuma, is going to be a Fetobo Imaginity. Where's a Fetobo? Oh, there he is.
Family and friends, thank you for coming here again today. Family and friends that passed away yesterday, I thank you for being here today, so that we may celebrate the life and the journey of Uncle Alex. Now, before I tell you about Uncle Alex, I shall tell you about his father, my granddad, Joseph Osebor. As I was writing this dedication to my beloved uncle, I was thinking about his siblings. I was thinking about Uncle Harry. I was thinking about Auntie Helen. I was thinking about Auntie Dorothy. I wasn't thinking about Mother, but I'll tell you why. And as I was going through the names, it seems like my granddad had given all his children English names. And I was thinking to myself, was he trying to compete with the royal family? But if he did, that's about to be one. But anyway, yes, Auntie Dorothy, Uncle Christopher, and there was my Uncle Alex, another English name. Now, Alex is a giant with a giant's heart. I mean, it's no coincidence when we stand up here to talk about how he helped everyone. When a man is true to himself, what follows after is a dedication of truth. When Alex helped someone, it wasn't small, it wasn't big, it was gigantic. If you ask Uncle Alex for a favor, you better believe that favor was going to get done. He will go above and beyond. Again, like my granddad. My granddad was a soldier. He was very protective. He was a commander, just like my dear Uncle Alex. The reason for this is because we show love in different ways. Soft love, kind, tough, and so forth. You see, tough love is like a give and take motion. It's very befitting for the life we live in today. Tough love, along with any other type of love, is something that we will never master. It is something that we will never truly understand. Because nobody, no living thing, lives a perfect life. We do not make mistakes. We live by the grace of tomorrow and hope to keep improving and eliminating ourselves in our journey. You see, life gives and takes. Life gave us a great man by the name of Alex Osebor. And this very life took a great man, Alex Osebor. So, from this moment, we shall refer to my beloved uncle as Alex the Great, like Alexander the Great. Those who have followed me on my journey of losses, you may know of this. It's my little trick. On the count of 3, we shall all say together to Alex the Great. You shall follow my lead. 1, 2, 3. To Alex the Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fetobo. That was a wonderful tribute. I'm going to call up another lovely lady, Helen Osebor, Alex's sister, to come and give a tribute to Alex.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here today. And especially, I want to say thank you for the love you have shown my family, for the support you've shown us. It really has been tough on us, but somehow Alex's spirit still hovers around us. I'm Alex's immediate younger sister. And if I'm going to have to talk about Alex, I might stay longer than I'm off my day, but that's not what I would do. My senior brother Alex, he taught me many things. Amongst these things he taught me, I'm just going to pick one or two. I'm going to pick newspaper. When we were much younger, I really didn't understand what to do with newspapers. One, I felt they were too big, and I actually thought they were for older people to read. I'm talking about when we were really kids. Alex has started reading the newspaper at a very tender age. He was that smart. I was still struggling, so he taught me how to read the newspapers. Many of you today really might not know this about my family. Many years ago, we lost a senior brother in America. And, you know, the typical Nigerian family, senior ones, they don't share information with younger ones, or we are called children. But Alex, as smart as he was able to follow up the funeral of my senior brother in America by reading the newspapers. And he would always call me, hey, come and see. Now, Brother Augustine, matter, I did this newspaper so that was how we followed the funeral. I'm very sure my senior ones never knew this, but we did. For some reason, I always used to like to iron my clothes before putting them on. I don't know why I did that. So, but with uniforms, I used to struggle. I didn't really know how to put gaiters straight. So Alex taught me that. So he taught me how to put gaiters on my uniform. And we are from a very large family. And most of the time I hear they say I'm related to this person, I'm related to that person. And most of the time I struggle with the correlation. I don't know how we're related. And I always find myself asking Alex, I'm like, Alex, how would you relate to this person now? I'm confused. Alex always made out time for me and explained it to me. So most of the time now when I speak with my friends, I tell them, I'm from a large family, yes, but I know all my cousins. I mean from my paternal side. And they'll be like, how do you know that? But once again, thanks to Alex. As a teenager, I had this kind of behavior, you know, stereotypically boyish. Looking back now, I realize it was from hanging out with my senior brother Alex. When we got to the university, for my kind of person, maybe I really wouldn't have been known. But I stand here today to say that while in the university, I just was not Helen Osebor, full stop. I had to be Helen Osebor, Alex's younger sister. That was how I was known. My senior brother Alex, he was not a judgmental person. He gave everybody opportunity to prove their worth. He was never judgmental. He was selfless. He helped people. If you came to him with a problem, he would go out of his ways to solve it. Underneath all of this, he was self-driven. My brother knew what he wanted. I take it, sometimes life happens and it doesn't always go your way. Do you know, somehow, everybody calls my brother Udo. Yes, because of his character. But underneath all of that, he was just human. Alex was human, and he was equally a simple person. While he was in the ICU, I got so very many phone calls from many of his friends. Like I said before, I'm his immediate younger sister. And we are very, very close. So that I knew very many of his friends. I knew many of his friends from Osebor, while he was in the car grammar school. Like, I never went to Our Lady of Lords, but because of my brother, I have many friends from that school. I didn't go to Marymount Agbo, but because of Alex again, I have very many friends from Marymount Agbo. I stand here today and I realized that although you guys may have maybe calling Alex Udo, I just want to say that he was, first of all, a very simple human being, and that he may have offended one or two persons. He didn't have a chance to say he was sorry. I want to apologize on his behalf. It is just human to offend people and don't have a chance to say you're sorry. Alex was very, very protective of me. Very, very protective, knowingly or unknowingly. I will recall an incident. You know, in Nigeria with Agbero, what they do at the park, how they'll be pulling girls. Fine girl, come now. In Echo, I slapped Agbero. I thought it was by my power. And I still stood and I was like, hey, come now. And I heard somebody say in Ishan to the Agbero, leave her, she's Alex's sister. So it was then I realized, okay, foolishly I slapped somebody. It wasn't like I was that tough that the guy just didn't beat me up. It was because I was Alex's sister. I had so many incidences like that I got away because I am Alex's sister. But the only thing that really saddens me today is I stand here to talk about all of this, but I don't remember ever like saying any of these things to my brother. I never really like made him know how much he protected me and how much I appreciated all of it. Please, my brothers and sisters, I think the only thing I want to say is to everybody here now, at least what I have learned from this, we don't always have to wait until it's too late. Talk to yourselves. If you feel good about something, about what somebody has done for you, about what somebody means to you, say it. Thank you.
Thank you, Daddy. What a beautiful tribute you've given to Alex. Time is fast spent, so just try and plow through this as quickly as possible. Next, I'm going to call Black. Ekino. Yeah, I got it right. Okay, Black. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to celebrate my brother, my cousin, and my friend. Towards the latter part of his life, we were like best friends, I never could have imagined me being, rubbing shoulders with Alex, this man. But we were like 5 and 6, He would call me on the phone, tell me stuff, relationships, things like that normally I wouldn't share with him. I wouldn't even look in his eyes, before. We became so close. There was one time I went to see him in Ireland. I went to see my sister in Ireland. And he took me out to a club, myself and Debo, you were with me. And by the time we finished, I was meant to go home and he said, no, young man, you're sleeping here. I said, okay. And before I knew it, he was already on the floor sleeping. And I said, bro, what are you doing? He said, you're on the bed, sleep on the bed. And I said, no, I won't sleep on the bed. So I took off my clothes and I wanted to sleep on the floor. And he said, listen, we're just going to sleep on the floor together if you don't go on the bed. So I jumped on the bed and I slept. It was big, but he just wanted me to be at peace, enjoy my stay. That was the kind of person he was. He was selfless, He had this thing for family. Bro, I'm sorry, I know you were not around, but he kept on talking about you every time. Every time he was so proud of you, My wife can testify to that, you know. He kept on telling her things at the point I thought he was online, you know, to her, about you. So I want you to be happy, God, be happy. He loves you so much, okay? Guys, Alex is not gone, he's here. I won't say he had two beautiful kids. He has, because to me he still lives. There's Ramosele and there's Obey there. So if you guys see this Alex, just look at this. Can you just stand for them? Give her a round of applause. He was so into family. He would call me out. When you guys know, I was like the oldest bachelor. You know, I didn't want to get married. I just thought marriage wasn't for everyone. He would ring my phone and talk for 1 hour, 2 hours. So next time when he calls, I say, Alex, I'll just put my phone down there, you know, because I didn't want him to remind me that I was getting close to whatever, you know. He was just looking out for all of us. He's my big brother, I would miss him, you know. I love him. He was genuine. He was blunt in speaking the truth, you know, facts. He didn't really care. He would just tell you how it is. I don't want to take much of your time because we're running out of time, but I want you guys to know this. There was one day, I think this was like 3 months ago. He called me on the phone and we were talking and he said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm driving home, I just got home," and we were talking. And the next thing he started crying. Like you said, he's Udo, right? Strong. But he's also soft. There's this other part of him. So soft when it comes to family. And the reason why Alex was crying, not because of himself, but because in our family, I have these 2 of my uncles. They have this fight ongoing for no reason. And he was crying and telling me, "Black, can you call them and explain to them? I don't understand why they're fighting, you know? The life is too small. You should love one another. Look at your neighbor and just, if they offend you, just tell them you forgive them, you know? And say sorry, let's move on and be happy." That's all Alex will want from us. Let's try and live in peace. I love you guys.
Thank you, Mark. The last person to speak will be Patrick Michael. So I guess that's me. I have this written up, but you know what? I'm not even going to look at this because what I have to say will come from the heart, and that's where it should come from. If I was going to title this tribute, I would call it "The Many Facets of Alex and Dwumfour Osebor." The first time I met Alex was at uni in 1990, and just like any other guy, I'd already made my judgment about who Alex was. Because Alex, if you know Alex then, was thick set, heavy, fear. Once you see Alex, fear will enter your body. And so I made the judgment that this guy will rip you apart. So I'd already judged him from his appearance, which was wrong. You don't judge a man from his appearance, you judge him based on the content of his character. So as I started to unpeel the character of Alex, as I interacted with him, I discovered that Alex would always do what's right. He was a peacemaker. He would always err on the side of justice. And because he always erred on the side of justice, by default, he was just and fair in his dealings with people. You would hear Alex say to me, "Daddy P, man, the team is pure now. No, they don't think the one we know pure." And I was amazed. someone I thought was that would rip you apart had this side to him. And fast forward to the UK, we met up again in the year 2000, and I started unpeeling the content of the character of the man. You know how you unpeel onions? And I discovered that Alex he had a large heart. In fact, he is one of the few men I know that have an extremely large heart. And he was genuinely kind. And I emphasize genuinely kind. And his kindness did not have any guile. It wasn't pious. There was no subterfuge in his kindness. Alex, I remember vividly 21 years ago when Josephine, I hope is Josephine here? When Josephine went to give birth to a baby in the US, there was this jeans jacket that Josephine was going to buy for Alex. It was those jeans jackets where you could reverse and you can wear the inside and the outside. It was black inside and it was jeans blue outside denim. And the brand I remember vividly was Guess. Alex said to Josephine, "You can't buy jeans jacket for me, you know, buy for Puma." And Alex bought me that jeans jacket. And for me, that became a turning point in our relationship. And I knew that this guy was more than a friend. I knew he was a brother. He was so kind. And then I started unpeeling the character, the content of the character of the man. And I discovered that Alex was loyal to a fault. His loyalty was legendary to his family, his friends all seated here, to strangers. He was loyal. And I tell you a story quickly because of time. My senior brother was moving from Great Yarmouth in Norfolk to London. And I told Alex I was going to embark on this 2-hour plus journey. Alex said, bros, we'll go together now. Let's go and evacuate and carry your brother's stuff. Alex dropped everything he was doing and he went with me. Alex even fueled the van. Who does that? Who does that? Other than someone who is loyal to a friend. Who does that? Alex, thank you. And guess what? I kept on unpeeling the content of the character of the man. And I found that Alex had a way of expression. It was so profound. From Alex would call me. He would say, "Daddy P." Now, wow. Ha! I just want to check your temperature. And I started using that expression. He called, there was a time we went out last month, in November last year. And the expression he used, I was amazed. He said to me, "Daddy P, bros, you go sell boats, you go still hold rope." I didn't understand what that meant. I said, "Which one you say? I sell boat, hold rope." He said, "I will explain it to you later." He had a way of expressing himself. So, ladies and gentlemen, I tried to put together a summation of my wonderful friend, Alex Osebor. And I can just tell you, from the above, you can see that Alex was a genuinely kind and large-hearted peacemaker. Because he was a peacemaker who was fair in his dealings with people, and he was loyal to his family, friends, and even strangers alike, and had a profoundness expressing himself. I actually thought I had finished unpeeling the content of the character of the man, but I was mistaken, you know. I saw another side of Alex on the hospital bed, in a hospital. Alex showed me, which I knew anyway, but he showed it to me, personified on that hospital bed. He showed me that he was a fighter. He showed me he had heart. He showed me that he was resilient, resolute to get better. What brought joy to my heart would be when I walked into the hospital room and I would hear him. Because he couldn't talk, he had undergone tracheotomy. My tongue has gone to sleep now, where they fed tube through his neck. He couldn't talk, but you could see the smile on his face. And you would do like this, just to let me know that we were together. It was amazing to see Alex, his fighting spirit. He also showed me something on that hospital bed. He showed me how much he loved me as a friend and a brother, but also showed me a deeper love that he had for Obehi and her brother, Erosele. And I learned from the man. What a man. What a man. I was the last person to see him alive, apart from the medical professionals. And I was also one of the first people to see him when he passed. It's been traumatic, to say the least, but it gave me the opportunity to go back and reflect on my own life, and also reflect on Alex's. And it just dawned on me that Alex knew why he was created. He was born to bring warmth. He was born to bring joy. He was born to bring peace. He was born to bring happiness to people. He knew why he was created. And he has come, he has done what he needed to do, and it now brings a Latin expression to mind. Non nobis nati. Non nobis nati, which means not born for self. You were born for other people. And that was what Alex was. He wasn't born for himself, he was selfless. He wasn't born for others, he wasn't born for himself, he wasn't selfish, he wasn't self-absorbing. He was born for you and I. And that was what he did. He came, he poured into people. It's so amazing to have had him as a friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not what we say. It's not the tributes we give. It's not. If we want to keep the memory or the legacy of Alex Osebor alive, I will tell you what we need to do. But before I tell you, do me a favor quickly. Can you please turn around? Look at each other. Can you just look at each other? What you see is the legacy of Alex Osebor. Because you're all here today because of him. Because of the love he put in you. Because of the warmth he showed to you. Because of the peacemaker he was. Because of the loyalty he gave to us. That is his legacy. So again, like I said before, it's not about what we say or what we write. Next time we want to keep his legacy alive, which it will continue to go. Be kind to someone else. Show someone else love. Give someone warmth. Also whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto God, and that is Alex's legacy. So it's so hard to stop because I could go on and on and on and on about Alex, a great friend. But you know what? I'm going to end by saying this. Alex came, we bonded, we went from friends to brothers, we were pals. So we just pick up the phone and we can talk for hours. So I'm going to say to my dear friend, my brother, Johnny Well, Alex Dwumfour Osebor, Johnny Well, Lord Ibn Godidi of Udi, and Johnny Well, my brother and my best friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been informed that we've given everyone candles, which we're going to light. Again, very conscious about time. What I'll do is take a vote of thanks before we light the candle, and then we can do the closing prayer. Does that work for us?
Yes.
Great. Okay, vote of thanks. Oh, Patrick, I guess I'm stuck here. You know what? Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It's today's Wednesday. It's a weekday, and to see the turnout, it's just it's heartwarming. So, on behalf of the Osebors who have given me the honor to do this vote of thanks on their behalf. So on behalf of the Osebors worldwide, and especially the ones in the UK, I want to express their gratitude and their thanks to you all for taking time out to be here today. I also want to thank people who are watching online, those streaming. Thank you for being part of this gathering. Thank you so much for the generosity of your time, efforts, prayers, and of your financial contributions you've made. Thank you so much. The Osebor family thanks you. I thank you as well. I want to thank the people who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, orchestrating this event, making this a success, and also tomorrow, also going to make tomorrow a success. So thank you for those people behind the scenes. You know yourselves. Thank you. I would like to especially thank the hospital professionals. I was virtually living in the hospital every day, and I saw the care. I saw the dedication they put towards Alex's final day. Alex was a fighter, I tell you. Mere mortals don't stay in ICU for about 60-something days. No! That guy was a warrior, and he was my friend. So glad to call him my friend. So I want to thank the hospital staff, Eden Hospital, the doctors, the nurses, the cleaners, all the members of staff. Thank you very much for looking after him. I would like to end this vote of thanks by thanking Alex. I thank Alex for giving us the opportunity to have known him, to have called him friend, brother, uncle, cousin. Thank you, Alex. He gave us the chance to see a glimpse of what a rare gem it was. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses,
and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Hail Mary,
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Hail Mary,
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Hail Mary,
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
glory be to the Father,
And to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, now and shall be, world without end.
Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you. We want to thank you for your son, Alex, whom you have taken, who is now with you, who is at one with you. We thank you for the knowledge of him. We thank you for all that he did as his friends and family have all said today. He did that which you sent him to do. Thank you, Lord. Heavenly Father, we bless your holy name. We thank you for all brothers and sisters who are here today. We thank you for the family, Heavenly Father. We ask that you give them peace at this time. Peace that surpasses all understanding, because it is that that we will need at this time to get through this point. Heavenly Father, we ask, particularly for his children, that you watch over them, that you are with them at every point, that which he was unable to see while he was alive, they will exceed all the expectations that you have for them in the mighty name of Jesus. Heavenly Father, we ask, and our blessing is that you bless each person, Heavenly Father, as you meet each person at their ultimate need, that you will shield and protect
them in the Lord, and they shall praise you continually all the days of their lives as long as they live in the mighty name of Jesus. When they look to their right, they will feel your blessings. When they look to their left, they will feel your blessings. Thank you, Jesus, for this time. And as we depart and we end this celebration, Heavenly Father, in preparation for tomorrow, that you grant each person joy and mercies. In the mighty name of Jesus. This we ask and we pray in the mighty name of Jesus. So, a light for Alex. Alex the Great.
Alex the Great.
Now let's sing our final hymn. I do know the one verse, that's what I'm going to sing. With guitars, I think we have it. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. He has done great things. He has done great things. He has done great things. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name.
Thank you very much.
This part of the celebration of life, there are refreshments at the back on our way out. Please help yourselves while you can. Okay, can you please leave the program because it's still going to be used tomorrow for the mass. If you are able to
Sorry? I'm not taking a picture of you guys, please. Thank you.
Oh, wow.